This is really interesting, and a lot of people look like total morons right now. The U.S. cut a deal with the Taliban, and the Taliban upheld their end of the bargain. So let me read this to you. An official revealed the U.S. Special Operations Forces had a secret gate at the airport and established call centers to help Americans get through the process. None of the information was previously known publicly, and the information was clearly hidden from the news, perhaps as a way of protecting against further ISIS attacks. The official said Americans were notified to gather at a preset muster point close to the airport where the Taliban would gather the Americans, check their credentials, and then take them a short distance to a gate manned by American forces who were standing by to let them inside amid huge crowds of Afghans seeking to flee, said CNN. Officials spoke anonymously to CNN due to the sensitivity of the arrangements, and the information is only now being disclosed out of concern for American safety. Throughout the evacuation, Biden administration officials stressed the Taliban was cooperating, and senior officials stated they had committed to provide safe passage for Americans, the report said. Clearly, this is what he was talking about, but couldn't say publicly. So, the United States cut a secret deal with the Taliban to get Americans out by any means necessary, including using this secret gate to get them through the airport and get them through the crowds. It's not just Biden saying it, it's also our general saying it, that the Taliban is incredibly pragmatic and they were cooperating every step of the way. The other day when we had the attack, you had complete frauds and charlatans and con men and idiots and liars. Even McMaster, for example. These people went out in mainstream media to millions of people and they said the Taliban is behind this attack. The Taliban wants ISIS to do the attack. The Taliban lost people in the attack. They lost fighters in the attack from ISIS. The Taliban has been fighting ISIS for years. For years, they've been fighting each other. This is something we covered 6 years ago, almost to the day on this show. You think these generals didn't know this? These officials didn't know this? They knew it. They knew this. So why did they go out there and lie to you and say the Taliban is behind the attack? Why would they do that? Stop and think about it. Why would they do that? Why would mainstream media and people in the military go out there and say, we think the Taliban is behind this attack, or at the very least they facilitated it? Why would they say that? They said that because they wanted Biden to not finish the withdrawal and go back in. So yet again, they lied, and they lied to continue endless war. Will a single person who lied about this now correct the record and now say, geez, I was 100% incorrect? Not a single one of them is going to do it. Nobody's going to correct the record. Nobody's going to resign for incompetence, whether it's in the media or in the military. They'll just keep moving forward as if nothing happened and as if they were right about the claim. And then there's people like me, myself and Crystal, we talked about this right when it happened. I was clear up front. I was like, no way this is the Taliban. Had I known it wasn't the Taliban. Because the Taliban was just doing a PR effort to try to get the world to accept them as a legitimate government. You think they wanted to do the one thing that would have maybe dragged the Americans back into their country? That's what they wanted to do. The one thing that would have undermined everything they worked towards. That's what they wanted to do. Now, I'm an idiot YouTuber with a loud mouth. I knew that. You think McMaster didn't know that? You think other people in the media who were saying this shit didn't know that? Everybody knew that. So they lied. They lied to try to keep the war in Afghanistan going, and there will be no accountability. And yet again, I go right back to the misinformation conversation. Hold on, YouTube tells me and all the social media outlets tell me, well, we got to protect everybody from misinformation, so we got to ban the stuff that's misleading. Okay. Are you going to ban CNN clips? Because H.R. McMaster went on CNN and said the Taliban's behind the bombing. Are you going to ban them for spreading misinformation, pro-war misinformation, dangerous misinformation? Oh, no, you're not going to do that. That's only reserved for small, independent content creators who buck your narrative, your pro-war narrative. Absolute sick joke, man. Absolute sick joke. They cooperated every single step of the way. They're being very pragmatic about it. They are currently in a battle with ISIS, and they got their hands full with ISIS. And they're going to continue to have their hands full with ISIS. And people in this country wanted to blame them to drag us right back into war. Your media is beyond broken. Fox News does this all the time. They bring on a former general or former commander, Jack Keane, and he gives his opinion on war, and, I'm very serious, and I'm a respected person. And guess what? They don't tell you he sits on the board of a think tank that's paid directly by the so-called defense contractors like Lockheed Martin. He gets a check cut to him from the military-industrial complex, and he goes out there and pretends, I'm just giving you the straight dope on war. I'm just telling you the truth. No, you're not. You're telling me all the time pro-war opinions because you're paid to give pro-war opinions because you're the propagandist for the military-industrial complex. And they don't even disclose that he's paid by these people. It's a cesspool. The media is a cesspool. The deep state is a cesspool. They want endless war. Non-stop. Non-stop. Nobody will correct the record. Nobody will tell the truth. Nobody will resign over the blatant lie. And it says quite a bit, doesn't it? It's a miracle we actually got out of there, given the relentless propaganda against getting out of there. And there were a bunch of trap doors, too, by the way. We didn't talk about this, but there was an article that came out the other day where there was some offer on the table for the United States to control all the checkpoints at Kabul and basically just hold Kabul. And Biden was like, no, not going to do it. Why? Because he would have had to deploy thousands more troops, and American troops would have had to stay there and looked after the checkpoints, and that opens them up to more attacks, whether it be from ISIS or the Taliban in that instance. And he didn't want to deploy thousands more troops. He didn't want to put American lives in danger over it. But of course, now he was hit on this fact after the fact, said, oh my God, Biden had the ability to maintain control of Kabul, and he reneged on it, and he said he didn't want that. Good. Good. All these were traps to keep the U.S. in this endless war. And he put his middle finger up and stayed strong, and he deserves massive credit for that. And like I told you guys early on in this whole crisis, I'm reminded that I actually hate the media more than I hate our politicians, with just how viciously and vehemently the entire media was pro-war.